The following is exactly what was said during an appointment. Only names are left out. Timestamp 3630. Well, what should we strive for in the future? I'm not going to prescribe any more medication or add any tests. Me? Well, I guess then we're at the end. Him? So what can you tell me? I believe that's what he says. It was kind of hard to make out. Me? I'm not going to lie. I want to cry. Him? What can you do for yourself? There's something I wish you'd try. Oh, but, there's something really bad about this medication. I don't have a thing written down. I can't learn hard to learn things like computer stuff. I stutter. Can't say I was learning it easily. Learn it as fast as I should in a classroom. This medication is virtually impossible. I'll be reading a paragraph I can't tell you how many times. It's like trying to read Sanskrit and, well, clearly not knowing how to do it. I'm not saying don't try something else. I stutter again, begin to cry. But write it down as a side effect. Meaning the pill is making me stupid, is essentially what I just told him. He says, sure. Me? I'm sorry. I'm crying. You can hear typing in the background. He calls my name. I say, some static. Tendency to pay off. Crying. Not there, alright. Well, do I just call you if I need refills? And the next thing I can make out from him is get you to come back. One thing I'd like for you to do is talk to our psychiatrist. I'm done with psychiatrists, I say. He asks, you talk to Dr. He pushes it, but nothing after I tell him the pill makes me stupid. He makes an appointment anyway. Timestamp 4110. Me. Had high hopes for getting in the military. Guess I'm not. The last meeting I had with a provider. After this, before this appointment, it's in the same VA clinic, and the guy was supposed to see the same doctor as me. The guy was an elderly gentleman with breathing problems, and his wife were waiting a minimum of 5 hours to see the provider I am. About a year later, a vet died in that waiting room. I'm pretty sure to see the same provider. And the reason I say a minimum of 5 hours is because they opened at 8, and I left that office, I think almost 2. It was either almost 1 or almost 2 in the afternoon. So yeah, at least 5 hours they were waiting. Who knows when they actually got to that location. Moving on to the appointment. He asked who I saw doctor-wise. Shouldn't that be in my file? 5 minutes, 20 seconds. I tell him what the civilian hospital found, which was kidney stones. I'm going to elaborate that on another video. 6:40. We look at the scan. 7:20. Most likely stomach. That's what he says. Most likely stomach. This is most likely liver. 8:08. They're static. 8:20. This is going to be the top of your left kidney. 9:25. Get right to the stones, he asked. Yeah. Him. That's probably, they don't have a him. They do. At 10:09. I'm trying to remember what I saw on my laptop. I can't remember if that's where the 6mm, but with the alfalfa and stone free, that's at least helping some. The scans he showed me show nothing. Meaning not mined or current even by VA scans. Good thing I didn't do that third operation. This level of lies and malpractice may have been missed. Him. So you told him you'd rather be operated on than pass the stone yourself. I say, no, no, no. If I have to be operated on again, I'd rather it be done through my back than through the...
Ding dong. I'm saying ding dong.
Him, urethra, and he chuckles. Side note, I didn't record that appointment he was just referring to, where I told the provider I wanted, well, I didn't say I wanted surgery, but that if I had to have surgery done through my back, because wow, what a meeting that was. Clearly, they're hearing what they want. At the start of talking about surgery for the stones, a proposal for a sonic bath was offered. Maybe sonic bath isn't the correct term, but it was supposed to be something, you sit in a tub of water and they blast sound at the stones, and supposedly that breaks them up so they can pass naturally. I couldn't say yes fast enough to that. Avoid surgery? You bet. Just as fast as I was told they'll do surgery instead. Didn't want to do the surgery until I accepted something else that was non-surgical, but they ended up doing it anyway. Continuing. Urethra. Chuckles. Me. Yeah, because the last time the catheter messed me up coming out internally and when exiting. Him. How's that doing? It's still messed up. It's not going to heal any more than it already has. Him. But it's timestamp 1140. Another issue is I was told they got out all the stones they could. About what I was told, all the stones are gone. A call about more pain, then told after the operation I still have stones. I never went and had the third operation, but the first two I had, after the second one, I was told they got out all the stones. Called to find out they did not. 13 minutes. He's confirming what I told him, asking what the operation was. Again, shouldn't that be in my file? So what do you want to do about a follow-up? Go back or me? Here I can't even get a straight answer. Him. He mumbles and starts typing. 17:15. Any thought on how we can make progress on your case? What do you think? He's confirming what I told him, asking what the operation was. Shouldn't that be in my file? So what do you want to do about a follow-up? Go back or me? At 16:25. Here I can't even get a straight answer. He mumbling and he starts typing. Any thought on how we can make progress on your case? What do you think? Something is wrong with my abdominal area. And I recount the time I went to the VA ER, dealt with a certain doctor. 2044. I didn't tell him where my abdominal pain was. He went to X marks the spot. Means somewhere in my file is a straight answer, an answer I can't get on printout. He mumbles again. Him. At 2309. When was the last time you were able to work? Military. I recount again what brought me to the VA. He should know. The sheer number of times I told him, pretty much every time I go in to see this provider. I mean, I don't know how many people he sees, but you should remember after, at least 10 times the gist. 2523. When was the first time you had this abdominal pain? I say again, this should be in my file. I guess you're seen a number of doctors about this. 3130. He wants to palpate my midsection. I tell him we're not doing that. Last time, for 2.5 weeks, I was in a lot of pain. A lot more pain than I'm in now. Debilitating? It was. I could barely get myself to the restroom and back to my bed. 2.5 weeks from the last time he did that. In all fairness, he didn't press too hard, but he definitely knew what he was looking for. And he hit the spot, and I didn't think that pain was possible in a human being. Moving on. 3229. Ever thought about what we might do? I say Washington. He had no reaction to me telling him he caused me 2.5 weeks of debilitating pain. 41 minutes. What's your hometown? Where are your parents? Ask how old my mom is. What does this have comment? What does this have to do with anything? Rather odd questions, don't you think? 4350. It says my name. With that, I'm out of ideas. I ask him if he wants to follow Custer or not, standing with the other doctors against the veterans or on the side of the veterans. He didn't answer. I assume he's with Custer. One day I was in town. Twice I tinkled what looked like pink grapefruit juice. Came home after the second time it happened and recorded the third and took the sample directly to the ER. They needed a fresh one. So, understandable. I could have done something, making this all up. But the fourth time, when I was at the VA ER, it was the same thing, if not worse. A little while later, the doctor came back, threw his hands in the air, and said, "You have kidney stones." No scans done. We're waiting for blood work. They took a rainbow of blood work. But they didn't even let me stay long enough to get those results. My hematuria, that's blood and urine, is not caused by kidney stones. The military checked specifically for stones, and no stones were found. Because I had the hematuria while in the service. VA found stones and said nothing. Nothing about them getting worse, yet VA and blood work would show just that. I found out from a registered nurse not associated with the VA that through blood work and UAs, anybody with competence should be able to tell if something's wrong with the kidneys. If not kidney stones directly, like, oh, well, this is kidney stones. Yeah, so far as this VA is concerned, I either had kidney stones while in the military. I say again, the military looked specifically for those and found none. Or the VA has also told me that they just came out of nowhere. Well, like I said, I'll elaborate that further. And it was far quicker to read it than to play. The following will say nothing for all the women I stepped past due to this element. Women who initiated things. Doing that has become a reflex. Even if those situations were in my head, it was egotism. Not as I saw them, I still ignored them, knowing full well how it must have felt. Who am I on God's green earth to do such a thing? If I was lying to the military or the VA, I wouldn't let my hypothetical fake ailment get in the way of a relationship. With this ailment, I dare not have a relationship. I also don't mention this pain waking me up at night, or waking me up 3 nights waking up 3 nights in a row, the beginning of last year, tossing my cookies in my mouth. Never crossing my mind to go to the VA. I could have easily died. It was at least 3 nights. It could have been more, because there's some nights I remember waking up and I don't know why, but there's 3 I remember why. It's because I was doing that. Saying I need help is an understatement. I'm not one to ask for help. That alone should say everything. I'll begin what I intend to say at the meeting. The meeting that was supposed to correct, or at least look into, with my problems with the VA.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Only the other night did I find the words. Not letting some of my ideas come into reality and fixing me is like buying a car and still deciding to walk everywhere. Places where it says diverticulosis, sigmoid diverticulosis, diverticulitis, a point where it says somatoform disorder, simply put, in my head. Seems this is strictly coming from providers, not those making the actual diagnosis, meaning VA providers are in no way, shape, or form doing their job. Dateline Report, 19 June 1992. Dateline reports using psych evals against personnel, confirming my claims against the VA are possible. Report says this has been going on for 60 years minimum. Being part of the government and employing former military doctors, can't honestly tell me the VA doesn't do this. I don't know if you can find it online, but in that report, which I may put on this channel, but it's saying if people don't conform to what a certain high-ranking official, well, any official with rank of serious note doesn't like, they'll ask them to have a psych eval, and usually it's followed through, and then the psych eval is used against them. They're either putting words in personnel's mouth or they're twisting words. Exactly what the VA is doing to me. I say again, it'd be one thing if I didn't have proof, but see if you can find the report. That way you know I'm not editing anything. Definition of authority. The power to give orders or to make decisions. Power or right to control someone or something. The confident quality of someone who knows a lot about something or is respected or obeyed by others. A quality that makes something seem true or real. Malpractice. Law. Careless, wrongs, or illegal actions by someone, such as a doctor, who is performing a professional duty. Dereliction of professional duty or failure to exercise an accepted degree of learning by a physician rendering professional services which result in injury, loss, or damage. Negligence, misconduct, lack of ordinary skill, or breach of duty in the performance of professional service, such as medicine, resulting in loss or injury. Took 17 years to get here. I'd be in 10 years and not here. I'm thankful they didn't. Better in the military, but this allowed me to see my friend in his final years, to do more, invent a few items to help vets, and figure out how to fix the VA health care system. No one seems to have an answer. When I ask, I'm stonewalled, monkey in the middle, told I don't know how by those who should. I'm lied to. There's no part of me that expects to be allowed to leave today. My instincts tell me this is the part where I'm lured under false pretenses. History says it's likely. That was my original opening. Here's what I originally submitted for claims. No seizure, abdominal muscular pain. What came from turns out to be sigmoid diverticulosis. By the way, I believe that also to be wrong and know what's actually there. Notice the cancers though, not from the military or had to come from the VA. I bet it was him, the one who did my scoping, who I quote, "We don't always take pictures of the problem." I don't believe that for a second. Evidence exists, just I can't get access. More on this later. No mystery why vets are able to deal with getting shot at, blown up, wives and girlfriends cheating and stealing their paychecks, losing friends in battle, rather be a road flare than deal with wives and girlfriends cheating and stealing their paychecks, losing friends in battle, rather be a road flare than deal with another second of the VA. The road flare thing is a vet who set himself on fire. And I know it's because of the VA. The VA says, oh, he was mentally this or that. The doctors shouldn't even noticed. It's not the horrors of war or PTSD killing vets. It's the VA. You're going off a 3-year-old letter, negating all the calls and more recent letters I've made and sent. One word comes to mind. Insane. Due to the lack of a better word. All I'm allowed to work with is this letter. After all the new findings of mine and new events, resources, and distance, I'm going in debt to be here. If this is it, whoever made the itinerary for today is wasting your time and perpetuating harm to veterans using the VA healthcare system. I wouldn't have known if I didn't press DAV for a straight answer. Now for my regularly planned delivery. Is there a reason almost a year passed for the War-Related Illness and Injury Study Center to contact me with a no? It took them a year to find a no. That's what they told the VA 2 years ago. It was supposed to take a month to get a response from the War-Related Illness and Injury Study Center. Ask me, undocumented communication went on behind the scenes. Don't get that way overnight. That's been happening for decades. Why do doctors continually want to palpate an area and prescribe meds if nothing is wrong? Out of the numerous times the area in question has been palpated, what more could they learn? My guess, something's there, pressed just right, may result in my death. Explains the first appointment I spoke of. Makes sense to me unless someone can prove otherwise. They lie to vets and those above them, purposely falsifying information. Wait times have been proven. The 2014 CNN report. Not far-fetched to cause a vet's death. Why is my gait and appearance and stated age monitored? They're just continually in the file that I received, where it's like a normal gait, dress is alright, things like that. Several times appears stated age. What does it have to do with anything? In 2012, I requested for everything in my VA file, ER visits, appointments, to the fullest extent of the definition. That didn't happen. What was sent, an abridged version, edits, omissions, falsehoods, to things I was never told. Gone through it back to front 10 times each, finding something new wrong every time. 10 times I've done that. 3 years of files, it's easier to say which pages don't have an issue I'm aware of. Places where it switches from a lower left quadrant to left upper quadrant to left side. I've been pointing to the exact same spot since the start, as in X marks the spot, 12-digit grid since Iraq. Having to recite the beginning of all this every time I go to a provider. Not now, every appointment. They're typing when I'm talking. It should be in my file. The psychologist says I graduated in a given town. Nope on that. That means they're making up words. That's just a fraction of the proof. To say I graduated from a certain school when, I've never been to that school. Told to exercise within pain tolerance almost every time. Keep telling them sitting hurts. That's right, just sitting. They give me a blank look as if I just told them the time. I shrug off second-degree burns. I did marching patrols in Iraq with this pain. It's not a low pain tolerance or some anxiety of not being equal physically to peers. Those are coming from the VA, saying I have a low pain tolerance, anxiety. File mentions something about liver and right colon abnormality. I was asked about my right side once. Providers nor file elaborate, yet I'm in the wrong for thinking they aren't telling me everything or trusting them. Far as the file goes, 3 years later, nothing about the biopsies that were taken. Told me the pain was air. Came out of the light anesthesia from the scoping. I said there's a whole bunch of pain. I was told, oh, that's just air. Like I said, I requested my file. I find out they took 3 biopsies and nothing. When I ask, they don't say anything about the biopsies. When I ask about them, and the file says nothing. They accuse me of wanting heavy pain meds. Selling them. There's no foundation for this. Look, some of these are so old, the label is blanking. Some unopened. I offered to turn them in. I was told no. Blood and UA to prove my innocence. Accusations persist. Can monitor the way I walk, look, dress, but no one can tell if I'm abusing or using illicit drugs. A lot of them are unopened. The labels are wearing off, they're so old. So if I was selling them, which they have suggested before, or abusing them, why would I have any in my possession at all? I was given my current medication at the time illegally, off-label use. Told them I was experiencing side effects, met with blank look, or told just stop taking. A blood pressure med. And a doctor says just stop taking it. How do they have a medical degree? Prescribing meds they know nothing about. Told the provider it's making me stupid. I have other symptoms. I can feel myself becoming more dumb almost by the day. Plus, every more present speech problems. None of this before the pill. When the timeline is put into play, almost as if when meds weren't the solution, or I wouldn't let them shove needless pills down my throat, was the start of them saying it was in my head, and they can wash their hands of me. These VA providers accuse me of abusing drugs. Yet, when I say a pill doesn't work or makes things worse, I'm threatened with refusal of care. VA wants to throw pills at ailments where no matter the pill won't solve anything. Can a pill fix a bullet hole? That's what they've been doing since day one. Proof: the providers have an agenda against me. My last provider asking where I live, my mom's age. Bizarre questions pertain nothing to my ailment or VA affairs. First words out of the psychologist's mouth was my dad's death. Clearly trying to throw me off balance. Every time I mention anything about the VA, it's ignored by the psychologist, wanting to pin me with PTSD, consistent with what providers say, putting words in my mouth, saying I endorse extremely frightening, terror/upsetting experiences, only at the VA. Second to last doctor insisting it's in my head and go see a psychologist. PTSD will explain everything, won't it? Problems with authority, phantom pain, migraines. Write it off as PTSD. Can't imagine how many vets had this done to them. Have fun getting a job with that, along with people's views of vets shaped by games, media, and entertainment. The papers the psychologist handed me when I was done don't match what's in my abridged file. The psychologist says I graduated in a certain school, raised in a certain place. Not really. The psychologist was just using ad-libs, not reacting to what I had to say about the VA, only wanting family info. Clearly approved by those above him. I don't know how else to say it. Finally gave in and went to see a psychologist to deal with these problems I've been having with the VA, and no, they've only put words in my mouth, twisted things. When you look at the file, you don't have to know the situation to know something's funny going on. Just some things seem just ad-libbed. Like insert name, insert where he graduated. Here's a sample. Page 293. He points to the area of diverticulosis found on CT. I was never told or shown any scans. Military said it was in my head. The military didn't find anything. They go as far as to say it was in my head. This is all from the same CT scan. Psychologist says I had pain since a given year. That's wrong. Says its absence on CT, talking about divertic, coming from a second to last provider I was with, was more concerned about dandruff. The provider says scans and scoping EG show nothing. This is all from the same initial scan. It's not different ones. Endorses extremely frightening, terror, or upsetting situations. What is he talking about? I've never said that. Not a once. Hematuria denies drug use. Shouldn't they know? This with all the UAs and blood samples. I was able to get at least some blood work and UAs in my file. They specifically tested for things of barbiturates, cocaine, methamphetamines, and it all came up negative. People who are using such type drugs, there's physical symptoms, the way they react, sometimes even physically, their appearance is off. I already told you about the VA ER appointment where it was severe hematuria. These providers act as if I come to them with a diagnosis. The opposite is what's happened. Military said it was all in my head. Found nothing. I never went to an outside medical facility before the VA. And the only time I have was to the ER. Either because I couldn't wait that long, get there and sit and wait for treatment, or I wasn't able to get transportation. I had to go to a local ER. The VA never showed me a scan until 2 years ago. I say again, the guy who did the scoping told me they don't always take pictures of the problem. The pictures that I did get, I went to ask for them, they show nothing. I've had a doctor and nurse outside of the VA, a registered nurse, look at the pictures and they show nothing. The guy who did the scoping, it's the one where all this stuff started with what I have or don't have. I tell them, I could have the greatest car insurance on the planet. If they don't get pictures of the incident, I'm not going to get anything from the insurance company. If they don't have pictures, then how am I getting anything from the VA? My second provider I went to wanted to prescribe me meds the United States hasn't allowed since 2004. He told me with straight face, wanted to put a lap band in me, but not surgery to fix me. At the time, I was around 190 pounds, and he wanted to put a lap band on me. Nothing about this in my file. The last one didn't know the left from the right side of the body. That's where it says this should be, that's this. So he can identify basic organs. Certain organs are on certain sides of the body, and he didn't know the left from the right. I mean, the liver's on one side, so that should give you a clue of what's left and right. Second provider also, further about the prescribed meds that he wanted me. He told me, go out and see if another pharmacy has it. The VA doesn't, so I go. And that's where I find out the United States hasn't allowed that med since 2004. And he tells me, with a straight face, they do in Canada. Oh yeah, let me either fly or drive to Canada, buy the meds, and come back. That couldn't be done in twice what I'm paid. My last visit with my last provider, an elderly gentleman and a wife were waiting a minimum of 5 hours when I left. He had a breathing problem. In the waiting area in the VA ER I go to, a red sign reads, if you're having chest pains or breathing problems and over 40, tell someone. I was prescribed tramadol. This was after the kidney stone operation. After the doctor said it may kill me. So the doctor gets a list of meds, and he's going over, okay, this is what you're going to get, this is what you're going to pick up. And one of it was tramadol. And he said, oh, well, we can't do that. It might clash with other meds and could result in your death. Somebody that was picking me up from the operation goes to get the meds. Tramadol's not there. Later, a week or so, I'm sent tramadol through the mail. After the doctor said it may kill me. Yeah, that tells you a lot about the VA. One guy after surgery was given grapefruit. That if eaten with his meds, who knows what. He was saying his wife actually caught that they gave him grapefruit. Shouldn't they go over his meds before anything is done? Another VA ER incident, an unconscious guy was brought in to the ER. Took them 5 minutes to get the crash cart. A guy comes in unconscious and it takes him 5 minutes or more to get the crash cart. And they don't get the crash cart exactly. They just mosey on down to wherever it was and then mosey on back as if it's stroll through the park. This guy that I'm about to talk about goes to the same clinic I went to. He's being minced by the VA, meaning I just think this guy had to tell somebody and I happened to be there. I was holding the door open for him and he says, they're going to cut off another piece of me. I didn't see the result of that. It was all covered. By the sound of it, they're cutting a little bit off, meaning he's having to go in through several surgeries to get it done instead of just taking the whole limb. At one point, after so many little bits are cut off, the limb's useless anyway. Yes, I fully comprehend the psychological effect of that. I see it as more psychological pain, just so much more pain, having little bit by little bit taken away. Look up a woman named Robin Temple. Botched operations by the VA, and the VA not taking a bit of responsibility. If you don't find anything about Robin Temple, let me know below, and I'll see if I can find it. 2 cases I know of where people told by the VAs I've went to, they're fine. Autopsies say they died of cancer. 2 different families that most likely never came across each other, let alone had a conversation. The veterans die because the VAs I went to said nothing about it. They were never told, and the only reason cancer was ever found is because they went to autopsies. This just shows I'm not an isolated case. They've been doing this longer than I've been alive. These providers hide behind their jargon. Once I show understanding, the providers deny and change the story. If they were going to fix me, it wouldn't take 7 years. Far longer for others, if they live that long. Providers of the VA do a great deal to label vets as the problem. I don't know if the VA providers know exactly what they're doing. It could go either way. Do know they're willing to take part in the well-oiled machine harming veterans. From my current findings, they are acting independently from those above them on an official basis, hence lying to those above them and not following basic instructions. What would be done if I did this while I was in the service? My last provider told me, "It's my practice." Verbatim. Zero doubt they all think that. As if a policy in a contract said as if they missed a goal in a sports game. "Sorry, coach. I'll practice harder and get it next time." It might be okay if the same wrong wasn't constantly repeated. Due to incompetence or purposeful intent, still malpractice by any current definition. It might be okay if it wasn't people's lives. Imagine me getting caught thinking that while in service, I missed a shot, something. I'll make it next time. No, there is no second time. Why is it okay for VA provider? Whoops, sorry, I missed the ID, rolled the vehicle, didn't take the shot, gave the wrong grid, resulting in your son or husband's death. Imagine if I said that. But it's my practice. This has to be part of why VA providers do what they do regardless of treatment. Say it's my practice, along with not a one being prosecuted. Instead, I'm accused of drug use, abuse, doing a big facade to get out of the military and just to get money. Hello? If that were the case, mission accomplished, then why would I put up with the VA? Enjoy the less than half of minimum wage. It's ridiculous for others and I to travel as far as we do, some cross state lines, dumb to travel those distances to see a provider, back, distance again, or further to a clinic, again to provider, back, repeat, all for one ailment, plus wait times, some dying right there in the waiting room, or doing a road flare impression, not to mention wear on vehicles, gas, other expenses. Sometimes this all happens just for UAs and blood samples. Go all that way, up to 2 or so hours away, just for blood samples and UAs. Guess I'm lucky. Some don't get that far. A new direction needs to be taken, going away from these current providers and most doctors. Do you blame the Jewish person for not accepting help from a Nazi? Is a battered woman with proof sent back to the guy who beat her? Is she in the wrong not trusting him when he says things will be different? Why am I in the wrong and made the bad guy for not trusting VA providers and doctors? Told it's on me after the 4th provider. My fault not going back to the abusive providers. I've gone through 4, each time making the situation worse. By the way, if all anyone cares about is wait times, I can play that game too. With doubt of the future, I'm going to say the following now, disregarding today not being the place. Time passed before I was born. A good opening move towards fixing the VA would be publicly admitting the problem, followed by giving vets a straight answer to what's wrong with them. Afterwards, fire everyone except pharmacy and ER staff. When there's vermin in the field, it's advantageous to denounce them. Then there will be no fault. The ER handle problems and pharmacy can give the medication, so something needs to be in place, but the rest can go for the moment. Next step, let veterans see any doctor they want nearest them. Now the VA can hire properly. No more having to travel a distance to get to the VA. With veterans seeing who they want, how will information get into their file? Why not have a regular medical file? Less mess. I have a way. The Sabbath was created for man, not man for the Sabbath. VA's foundation is better to do with the near or completely empty properties. Homeless vet apartment. Keep pharmacies and minor element area along with ERs. Not saying make it the Ritz. Still somewhat nice. Get them on their feet. It's restoring your equipment. Fund them worthwhile jobs. Housing. If anything, this will save on medical. It's been proven when other states build houses for the homeless, it saves the state money overall. So this isn't something that's exactly original. The nation that forgets its defenders will itself be forgotten. This isn't my original solution to help vets. I've been failing to gain an audience for that. I brought you more than one corner. Time for me to talk to someone who can bring me no less than another in return. My original intentions before talking to DAV were different for today. Probably get off blood pressure medication, discuss the failures of the VA healthcare system, ask for help with vehicle, my house that's crumbling, literally. Some bricks can be removed completely. Support posts and foundation is splitting. Unable to fix due to financial or physical restrictions the military should have fixed, and I came to the VA for, limiting my ability to do anything to stem the tide. A very real possibility I can end up homeless soon. When my phone minutes run out, I'm unable to afford more. I end up homeless and not off the blood pressure medication. I might as well be good as dead. The medication is blood pressure. Sudden stop could result in a heart attack or stroke, and that's with name brand. Any one moment, at most, I have 4 weeks supply. Takes 6 weeks to get meds to a new address, meaning, let's say I find a stable address right away. There'll be a minimum of 2 weeks without. Me being homeless is essentially a death sentence. This is like a leash. Also came to discuss the removal of my 3 main scars. They hurt and itch. I went all the way to the VA, an hour or so away, to have this done once, only to wait and turned away. I went to the given VA appointment specifically to remove said scars, and they told me no. But yet in my file, it says he said he didn't want them, refused to have anything done. Why would I travel an hour or so away from my place of living to go, oh no, I don't want this removal of scars that I said I wanted done? It doesn't make sense. I was told no. Not nitpicking anything. These are still a minuscule fraction of the
informal form. Okay.
Okay. He has medical records. They're not recent medical records, but I believe he wants to still submit these records, even though, it's already, I've already discussed with him about it being service-connected already.
These are VAMC records?
Older records.
We have them.
Okay.
We have them. They're already uploaded.
Okay. All right. Great.
I was going to give you a digital version. This is just for a quick flip through.
I already looked through all of your records. Well, a whole lot of that is not going to even be relevant. Let me tell you why. It's not going to be relevant because what we're talking about is an increased evaluation for something that's already service-connected. So we don't need a whole lot of stuff other than showing that you're having increased symptoms of what was going on. And the only thing we're doing, see, when you're talking about, filing an appeal on something, or notice a disagreement on something, we're talking about you didn't agree with what that examination said back then, that evaluation back then. Okay, so the only thing you need to do is bring me something that shows me that the severity of your symptoms are greater or were greater than. So unless you have something, because this is based on that decision back then, unless you can show me something that shows that back then the severity of your symptoms according to our rating criteria were greater, it's not going to really be relevant.
I really don't know where to go with that, sir.
Okay, well, can I just give him a little explanation? Okay, so just to give you an idea of this process, what happens. When you're evaluated, your service-connected conditions are evaluated. We send you to an examination, and that examiner uses criteria that's set aside by law and tells us what this particular condition must have in order to have this type of evaluation, right?
Yes.
Okay, so on your examination, it showed that the severity of your symptoms for that condition were 10%. That's based on the cardinal signs of muscular injury. So it wasn't like a gunshot where it's a through and through injury. So the only thing we can evaluate is what that examination revealed. And what that examination revealed equated to a 10% evaluation. You had 2 cardinal signs. I think it was fatigue and pain. And that was it. That's what it showed, and that's what we evaluated. There's not going to be much more for a strain that you can get. In fact, I can tell you that that evaluation was not valid. Why? The examination criteria says consistent.
Okay.
The examination actually showed occasional. That would have amounted to a 0 had they done it properly. So you got an actual evaluation that you probably shouldn't have. So we're going to leave that there, but it definitely didn't show anything greater than that. So the only thing that you have to show is that you have something that's greater than fatigue and pain for your muscle injury. That's it. It's simple.
Well, I mean, all right. I guess I can sort of elaborate on that.
Do we want to now? If we're going to get into the meat of the issue, see what we're doing here would equate to an informal conference. Okay, what we're doing is equating to an informal conference. That means you tell me what you see, I'll tell you where we are, and then we'll go from there. If we need to push it forward to BVA, we will. For the formal, if we're going to go do this formal, then we'll go ahead and we'll do it recorded. I'll take your testimony and we'll just send it forward, so it just depends on what you want. Now, if you want better explanation, then that's an informal conference.
All right, I don't think I need a better explanation.
You don't?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
All right. So,
Okay, we're going to go on the record.
We're going to go on the record.
Okay. You don't want to informal, you want a formal.
If you want formal, all we're going to do is record it. We won't be doing any talking.
I'll be asking you questions.
It's going to be between you guys and the microphone. If it's an informal conference, if you're looking for information and reasons why, then that's an informal conference. That means we're going to sit here and talk. It'll still be documented, but you don't get both. You have to go with either one or the other. The informal conferences, we're going to sit here and chat.
Okay, so informal is I get explanations. Formal is I talk.
I'll be questioning you, and it'll be going on the recorder.
And we'll send it off. It'll be transcribed, and once the transcription gets back, we'll send it on forward to BVA.
And we can only address the issues that's on the appeal, which is just this condition. We can't talk about a whole bunch about how the BA is doing, and it's specifically just for this.
I can still play with that.
Okay.
So what do you want to do? It's your choice. I mean,
We'll go with formal.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
No problem. All right, let me just verify your address. Is your address?
Yes,
Is it
correct?
And I have a contact telephone number as area code.
I don't know how they got that number at all. At least until October 14, 15.
Okay.
At that time, I won't have a phone.
All right, well, let me just explain to you what's going on. Number one, I will definitely have to put you under oath. Do you have any problem with being sworn in?
No.
Okay. Issue that we're talking about today is going to be chronic muscular abdominal strain. It's the only issue I have?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
When I got the letter, it said, well, all right, we'll go with that. All right, yes. We're good.
Now, I want you to, what questions do you have? I need to make sure that we're clear on everything here.
The letter I received talked about seizures as well.
But the only thing you appealed was that, though.
Yes. Well, I don't think I was ever, I don't remember what I wrote exactly. It was 3 years ago. I've made numerous phone calls, sent numerous letters. I've probably spent an actual paycheck worth of sending out letters, trying to get something done after probably a year not getting a response back, because I found the letter in response to the one I sent 3 years ago. It said, we'll get back to you soon. And I remember, then all of a sudden the memory kicked in. It's like, oh, I remember I waited a year and nothing happened. And that's when I started, all right, clearly nothing's going to be done. Or at least I didn't believe anything was being done. And then I started sending out more letters. I even bought USBs, sending stuff out because my hand was cramping up writing letters.
Let me explain to you, the process is when we talk about a notice of disagreement, we're not talking about just your file. Now, every file that we get is going to be important to us, but your notice of disagreement wasn't received until January of 2014, okay? We have things that we're still working from 2012. It's volume. Volume is everything. So it's not that we were putting you on the back burner.
No.
It's just that we hadn't gotten to you yet. Now, the problem is that we're talking about a legal issue when you're talking about what you actually filed a notice of disagreement on versus what we actually, can discuss. Your notice of disagreement says, hey, I didn't agree with this particular issue on this rating decision, and that rating decision was in December 16th of 2013. So the only thing that we can address legally is that issue, because that's what you brought to attention and what you put us on notice for. You put VA on notice. You said, hey, this rating decision does not reflect, my severity of symptoms, right? So I want to make sure we're on the same page, because I don't want you confused in this process, because that's when veterans, I'm one of them, that's when veterans start feeling like they were slighted. It's when they think that or they leave here and they don't have an understanding of exactly what we're supposed to do. I want you to make sure that you understand exactly where we're going with this, because when you file that notice of grievance, I'm not even sure when the seizure disorder came about.
Well, no, there's nothing.
I don't know.
Same rating?
There might be seizure in here,
Right.
but I'm saying the letter I got about this meeting specifically mentioned seizure, and I don't even know. I don't remember what I wrote, because like I've been saying, the letter was 3 years ago. I sent out so much more stuff. It's hard to keep track of.
Well, let me just tell you what you have to do from here with the seizure disorder. The only thing you can do from here with the seizure disorder is reopen that. Did we deny it? Mm-hmm. The only thing that you can do.
No, it makes sense to deny, because I don't have anything
He said
seizure.
he didn't have it on this letter. He put on there that he didn't have it.
Because,
So,
reason I mentioned, I imagine I mentioned, because like I said, I don't remember specifically the letter, but I imagine I mentioned seizure in the letter is because they mentioned it here somewhere, and it's the fault of the providers. I'm filling for the words. Saying I have something when I don't, but yet when I do have something, they're not putting it in here.
Okay, well, don't get all of that confused, because what we're talking about is something that happened during service.
We're good.
Okay, all right.
We're good now.
So, no problem. Like I said, I just want to make sure you have an understanding, because I don't want you to leave here, with that question mark, right?
We're good now.
Okay, so what we're going to do is this will be recorded, of course, and you'll have to forgive me when I don't really like scripted stuff, but when we're doing it by the book, that's what we're going to do, okay? So we'll read, and then I'll turn it over to Ms. She will take care of things from there. So with that said, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. With that, we are getting ready. Good morning. This is Decision Review Officer with a personal hearing to be transcribed after the hearing with a copy of the VA file, a copy for the representative, that's the disabled American veterans, and a copy for the claimant. The hearing is held at the Department of Veterans Affairs Regional Office, and the date is, and the time is approximately, I will now put under the oath or affirmation for those individuals who will be giving testimony. They are the claimant. You raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth to the best of your knowledge and belief? If so, answer I do.
I do.
All right, the claim number. The following persons are present. That's the veteran. Power of attorney is Department of Veterans Affairs. The Disabled American Veterans, rather. The purpose of the hearing today is to provide you with an opportunity to present oral testimony, argument, and contentions, and to present any witness testimony pertaining to the issues at hand. Documentary evidence may also be presented for inclusion in the record. Such evidence and testimony should be relevant to the issues on appeal. The hearing will be conducted informally. The rules of evidence do not apply, and leading questions are permitted. The hearing will be recorded, transcribed, and made part of the permanent record of file for the veteran. Any questions that I may ask will be for the purpose of developing facts and gathering information. The issues under consideration today are chronic musculoabdominal strain, currently evaluated at 10%. With that, I'll turn the hearing over to you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Perry today provide evidence to his personal testimony to support his pending claim. It is Mr. Contention that his abdominal disorder has gotten worse. And as a matter of record, Mr. Curry, sir, all of the United States. At this time, we'd like to begin our questioning. Mr. Can you tell us what area is affected? Where you having the pain? Okay.
Right there. Like X marks the spot, 12-digit grid.
Okay, so
Right
it's
there.
just one spot?
For the record, the veteran is pointing to his abdomen.
And there's also this area.
Okay.
They call that the hiatal hernia.
Okay. So, do you have any other symptoms other than just pain? Any other problems with that condition?
I don't know how associated it is with it, but there's hematuria. I forget what blood out the back end's called, but there's that at times. I can tell myself without.
So you throw up blood?
No, fecal matter.
Okay, so it's just okay. All right, just that in. Okay. All right. How often do you see a doctor for this condition?
Whatever the VA shows.
When was your last appointment? You don't recall? Okay, you saw a doctor for this condition specifically.
Every time I go to the VA, my intention is to solve my abdominal problem, because that's what I went to the VA originally to solve.
Have you been given medication for the abdominal strain?
I'm not sure if that I can answer that in a yes or a no.
Okay, would you like to elaborate what you mean by that?
Me saying not being able to say yes or no. I have been given medication for, or at least been told for, the abdominal problem, but it has, any medication they've given me has either done nothing, either it hasn't made the problem worse or better, and then so I've stopped taking it because, why am I going to take a medication that's doing nothing? Or it's the medication I've been told, oh, let's see if this works, has made the problem worse.
What medications are you taking?
Right now I'm only taking 100 milligrams,
Okay.
but that's not for abdominal.
Okay, what are you taking for the abdominal problem?
Nothing.
Okay. All right.
Because nothing so far has worked, and they seem to choose medications at random.
How often do you have the pain?
It's constant at this point.
Okay. So we were talking earlier, you said they had recommended surgery. Is that correct?
No.
Okay, so what did you say?
As far as the abdominal pain, no surgery has been recommended.
Okay.
What was talked about, what I said earlier, I believe it was when I was seeing a provider, a nurse whisked me away to see the head surgeon when he was and the surgeon said I should have had surgery years ago. At the time that was said, that meant the military branch I was in should have done something. The surgery that was offered to me was lap band surgery.
So he did say something about surgery to you?
Yes,
Okay.
but not for my abdominal pain.
Okay.
Or diverticulosis.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to discuss concerning this condition?
It was mentioned earlier that the pain was, as initially evaluated, was what I said was on and off and should have not been accepted under VA guidelines. At the time of going to the VA, the pain was not as severe as it was now, but it was constant. What I told the VA was, while in the military, they wanted me to start from the beginning of when my abdominal pain first manifested, and I did. And I told them it's where I was, what I was doing, and the pain itself started as it was there every so often, like from weeks to maybe every few days, and then it increased in severity, and eventually it became to what it is now, to constant and on the severe side of pain.
So are you having pain right now?
Yes, it's constant. What are they called? Opiates do not solve the pain.
So are you taking any pain medicine?
No, because they don't. They don't
Okay.
solve it. Why am I going to take it?
So you're not taking anything for the pain?
No.
Okay.
I mean, they don't solve it.
Okay.
It just serves for side effects.
Okay, well, sir, I have no further questions.
All right. Well, would you like to, or do you have any closing remarks?
No, sir, I have no further questions. Mr. Curry, have you said everything that you would like to say concerning this condition today?
Not quite.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Concerning this condition, it was recommended at one point, though I do not believe, for this condition to see a VA psychiatrist. And when I tried to talk to the psychiatrist about the pain or anything dealing with it towards getting it solved, meaning, or at least a straight answer, it was the intern handling my psychiatric care at the time wouldn't have anything of it. He always diverted from talking about it, and the providers seem to constantly palpate the area, and that that serves nothing but to cause me further pain. Seemed to be reaching for my spine through my front. He was pushing so far in. The last time, which was I'll admit he lightly palpated the area. It caused me so much pain for almost 3 weeks. I almost had to crawl from the chair to the restroom. And I vowed from then on, no one's going to touch my abdominal area from then on unless they can tell me what they're filling for. I'm told from VA providers nothing's wrong with me, but yet when I went into the VA ER for a throat problem, because they're the only ones open at the time, I thought I just want to see if I was contagious. A doctor seemed to be fine with the abdominal problem because it was being looked at by a VA provider. After looking through my file, he went to the exact spot, and I never pointed to where it was. So something's there, but I cannot get a straight answer. In my file that I'm able to obtain, there are sections that switch from left upper quadrant to left lower quadrant to just left side. But yet, the entire time from military to now, I've been pointing to the exact same spot, like 12-digit grid. Far as this specific ailment, that is all I have to say on the matter.
Okay, well, sir, we have no further questions. We'd just like to thank you for the opportunity to hear Mr. Case today.
All right. Well, sir, once again, I thank you for coming in to
I
provide the
appreciate your
testimony. And you'll be notified of the decision after the transcript is received. With that, we'll close the hearing. The time is...
I didn't record the pre-meeting because I was naive, thinking my power of attorney, DAV, would be on my side. More questions were asked in the pre-meeting. Only ones that harmed me the most were officially asked. I request you really listen to the beginning of Side B. Allowed to ask leading questions. My power of attorney. Allowed to ask leading questions. To me. My power of attorney was only there to aid the VA. Just like during the pre-meeting, she would lean back and turn her head to the side as if to say, "Do you believe this BS?" Every time I attempted to help myself. Heaven forbid I do that. If you listen carefully to Side B, the guy says, I, the veteran, may offer evidence. Then says they don't want it. They do not want to see how I see the given problem. Even though on several forms it says we will do our best to look at things from the veteran's point of view. If I can, I'll add what really happened 3 years before the meeting at the end of this. During the pre-meeting, my power of attorney made it my fault. The providers aren't doing their job, not giving me a straight answer. According to the VA and DAV, it's veterans' fault they're being treated in such a manner. Both claimed to be vets, though I have my doubts. Unless they're consider just being prior military vet status. The following is what happened 3 years before Side B.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing alright now that I found the place.
Alright, good. Well, we're doing this for your VA rating today. We do the exam part, send it off to the VA will do the rating on this. Just so you know, we don't tell the VA what we think the rating should be or anything like that. That'll be up to them. Also, we're not supposed to provide you with any kind of treatment today of any kind. Can't give you any kind of medical advice, any kind of medical opinion. They just don't want us to do that. So let's get going. How tall are you, first of all?
File says so. We'll go with that. Yes.
And how much do you weigh?
We'll say 12.
Okay. Claim that they want us to look at is you've got some issues with like an abdominal muscular.
Yes, that.
Issue there?
And then some other stuff if I can add it because it came to light.
We can't add anything today.
Okay. Wow.
But
VA just keeps its surprises coming.
yeah, you can submit a separate claim. That's just kind of how that works. Tell me about the stomach, though.
Yeah. Well, it started definitely in the military. While I was and what preceded that was a suspicion of hematuria, and then once I had to use a water bottle to relieve myself, a clear confirmation of hematuria.
Okay.
It was like it looked like I cut my finger and put the blood in myself.
When did your abdominal muscles start cramping up, or?
Let's see. I got back to beginning of is when it got like serious.
And tell me what your symptoms were. What were you feeling?
Severe pain, like you.
And was it pain when you would like bear down, or?
No, it didn't. It would started off as off and on, came as it pleased.
Okay.
It didn't seem to have any rhyme or reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Not affected by physical activity.
it didn't seem to. But then I was in a war zone, so I really didn't.
Hard to say.
Yeah.
And are you still having that pain now?
A little bit. It's not quite as bad, but then again, I'm still recovering from getting kidney stones removed. So pretty much a lot of things hurt
Okay.
in that area. So I can't say.
It's hard to say what's what, basically.
Yeah.
Do you take any kind of pain medicine for this?
No, they refused it.
And is it
So-
in the middle, or is it on one side or the other side?
Well, some doctors give different locations, so I'll point to it and you tell.
Okay.
Right, like right there is where. it is.
Okay. Right there is where you usually get the pain. So go ahead and lay down on the table, face up. Listen to your stomach and press on it. And
Do you really? I mean, I know you really do, but man,
we'll try to be real light.
because last doctor did he was out in severe pain.
He was like,
two weeks solid,
oh wow, wow.
and that's after
Take
him
it
telling
easy,
me.
Make sure. I'm not going to mess with you too much today.
That's after him telling me there's nothing more he could do for me.
Okay. Stomach sounds pretty good. So I'm just going to press just a little bit. And this is the area that hurts most of the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, a little below.
Any pain right now?
A little over. I mean, not too much, but like I said, I mean, I'm
Not
still-
on this side.
Not.
Do like a half sit up. Does that make it hurt?
Like
Slightly.
barely worth
Slightly.
mentioning.
Okay. It's worse if you just go ahead and lay down. It's worse if you're just laying there.
I mean, there's.
Come on.
It's a constant pain. It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter what I do.
What are you trying to figure out? Is it related to your stones?
Well,
Hard to say.
well, I mean, I gotta go through this mental thing of, I went through the VA stuff. It's more grueling than going through Iraq, and just stuff that I had to go through with the VA. I mean, a roller coaster, honestly.
Sure.
So it's trying to get the information in a short amount of time. It started off, like I said, in the military, and sought medical help, and the military said they couldn't find anything.
Okay.
Then it ended up being 2 years, and they said, okay, well, you have a choice. You can said we couldn't find anything. Either get out or stay.
Is it?
And I
This
chose
was the reason that you left the military?
well, it was like I said, they couldn't find anything. Yeah, I chose medical discharge because it was either that or deploy. And with my job, with what they were going to force me to do, because no one believed I had this pain.
Right.
Because everybody else was saying there's nothing there. Lives were going to be even at a greater risk. And
I see.
I wasn't going to have that.
Are you right or left-handed? What hand do you write with?
I write with.
So,
And then went to the VA. They initially, but when I got out, was getting out, they go, well, we couldn't find anything, so you got this list of like 3-4 things. I can't remember exactly. So you can pick what you think it is. And then thought, all right, I'm out. I'll have some rest. It'll heal on its own.
Right.
Because it's just, I had an injury, and it's just not healing because I can't get absolute rest.
right.
Well, about 9 months or so, probably not that long, but a few months down the road, for me, I'm like, all right, it's not going to heal on its own. I'm going to go to the VA and see what can be done. They initially start telling me, oh, there's nothing wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with you.
What are the claims you have right now with the VA that you need to look at?
Well, I want to do this, this abdominal, urethra. Yes, scarring in that because
Scarring in your urethra?
yeah, because of the scoping that
Okay.
I was,
Because of your kidney stones? it was-
no, it was before that because the doctor that was doing, well, there were several, but in charge, he told me there was scarring before that,
Oh, I see.
and so
Any
there's
other
going
claims
to
that
be.
you're working on? For the, how about your kidney stones itself?
Well, no, as far as I'm told, they're like all removed.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not going to claim that.
How are your bowel movements? People okay?
I mean, yeah, they seem all right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with your... Because the claim that you have going on here that we're doing today says your abdominal... It talks about your abdominal muscles. So they're saying that you have abdominal muscle pain.
No, I'm talking... Yeah, I didn't say anything about that. I said it was for the divertic.
Yeah.
See,
this
they
is
have...
already service connected.
See,
This is what we're doing today.
but I'm trying to get the specifics of it because...
So you have
they-
diverticulitis?
Well, see, this runs into the problem of I can never get a straight answer from the
Have you been
providers.
scoped?
Several.
Put a camera up there.
Yeah, from...
Do you have like copies of the report of that?
well...
I'm not gonna look at it today. I'm just asking if you have that.
Well,
So
see,
no.
part of the funny thing about that is they did a CT scan. What, like the very first thing they did, they go, oh, okay, you got this.
Did it show you
You're saying you have this pain.
Right,
We're going to do a CT scan because that's obviously the least invasive.
right, right.
It's
What did it show?
no brain. Well, that's where it starts to get funny. They told me initially that I didn't have anything.
And then
Eventually they start, oh, well, you have this, but you're fine. You have this, but you're fine. Then they start telling me you
what
have
did
nothing wrong.
What did it show when they scoped you though?
That's when they started telling me, yeah, you got your diverticulitis.
Okay.
And then I asked for pictures, which I wasn't
Did
able
you
to
put in a
find.
claim for diverticulosis?
No,
already?
I asked for pictures because they said I have this, and I was already on the long line of not trusting them.
Okay. So do you have any questions for me about what you need to do right now as far as claims wise, or is there anything I can answer for you specifically? We're done with this examination with what we're doing today because all they asked was to evaluate your abdominal muscles, and I don't think that's really the cause of your pain. It may be, but I don't think it is.
Well,
So is there any questions that you have for me that I could answer for you to help you?
yeah, well, this is seeming to be,
I'm going to tell them you do have it, but I think you have other reasons for having pain.
yeah, because, like I said, I got not enough pain for Vicodin, but Aleve ain't gonna take care of it. So I'm like in a limbo.
Right. So is there anything that that you think I could answer for you to help you get the right claim going, or anything like that? Right?
Why would the doctor, I don't know if you can answer, but why would the doctors lie to me?
Yeah, that's
why
not what we're covering today.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out what I can do to help you get the right claim going. I'm not here to unfortunately, this is not the kind of examination that's going to diagnose what you have wrong with you.
No, I know.
But I want to help you try to figure out what kind of claim you need to put in so you can get the right evaluation, so you can get your rating going.
Because
Does that make sense to you?
I told them over the phone, and I sent them everything I literally found.
So I would, because if I were you, I would put in a claim for diverticulosis.
Well, that's what I did.
Okay. So we're not doing that today, obviously, but that's probably in the works. But I would call the VA and make sure they're still working on that claim.
Well, that's what this was supposed to be. But with the shutdown, they're not doing anything. I already looked on the internet.
You can't get in touch with them or anything?
Well, they're working on what has been submitted.
Oh, I see.
And that's what this was supposed to be.
You did submit a claim for your diverticulosis.
And that's what this is supposed to be, because I already got a claim going. This is supposed to get a more specific rating. This is supposed to get, I guess,
this
more
claim was,
money.
Right.
Because
this claim was not for your diverticulosis today. This is probably the rating, the examination you get before the diverticulosis examination, because this is service connected already. So basically what the VA does is they'll redo your service connected issues first, which is what we're doing today. And then when they're ready to send us the other rating examination, they'll send that over when they're ready to do that. So it sounds like you already have that going. You already have that process rolling. All you have to do now is wait for the other examination to get sent down to us, and we'll do that one. The one for your diverticulosis. Does that make sense to you?
The VA just doesn't cease to amaze me.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's no fault of anybody here.
Right.
Just like I said, they've lied to me. I got the abridged version.
Sure.
Because like I told you, after the dude said, there's nothing more I can do for you, I asked for paperwork. And every time I look in the paperwork, or I find something new. Like when I was making a copy of everything this morning, I came across a sheet that said, oh, born and raised in... I'm like, well, one, I never told you that. And I may have said I lived in, may have said I was raised in, but I never said I was born in.
Right.
So it's like, if they're going to take liberty with that, what else would they take liberty with?
Sure, I understand. Well, this is going to get sent off right away. At least this part will get rolling. And then when your diverticulosis examination comes up and they send that over to us, we'll get you back in for that.
All right.
This is not what you're going through is not out of the ordinary for putting in a new claim. So it usually takes a little while, and what you're going through right now, as far as getting in that the whole thing redone is a normal thing. So you're well within the normal range of what's going on with this. But I do understand that you're not happy with the VA, but that's totally understandable.
Here, go get you.
Thank you. You're all set. Thank you so much. Good luck with everything.